when you don't fit in, you have external conflict. When you do fit in, you have internal conflict. And when we see that we have internal conflict, that's a sign that we're not at the right place.
Hey lady, welcome to the Highly Sensitive Woman podcast. Do you struggle with self-doubt, setting boundaries, or feeling overwhelmed? My name is Allyssya, and I'm a highly sensitive woman who spent years trying to fit in, ignoring my own needs, and living in constant fear of disappointing others. But I finally discovered the power of embracing who I am, and now I don't feel so broken. In this podcast, you'll learn to find your voice, set boundaries, and live with bold confidence and inner peace. Grab a cozy blanket. It's time to connect with someone just like you. Welcome back. My guest today was recognized as one of the top 10 up-and-coming entrepreneurs in 2023 by Success Magazine and the recipient of the Most Innovative Woman in Business Development Strategy and the Best International Business Consultant in Canada at the Influential Businesswoman Awards. She has been one of very few Canadian coaches invited by Forbes to join the Forbes Coaches Council, an honor reserved for the most eminent business coaches. She's also a member of the Harvard Business Review Advisory Council, the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, and the National Speakers Association in the United States. Sara is a multi-passionate entrepreneur who is interested in everything related to business, consumer psychology, and more specifically, human behavior. But most importantly, her mission is simple: to help entrepreneurs and leaders think differently, talk differently, and act differently so they, in return, make a difference in the world around them their way. Welcome, Sara Gilbert.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I am so glad that we finally got to make this work. We have tried a couple of times to connect and things have just gotten in the way. So I'm so glad that we are here and having this conversation because I know that it is going to be really valuable for those listening. And we are going to get into the work that you do and all of those amazing accomplishments. But first, I want to start with your experience as a highly sensitive woman.
It's interesting that now we can put words on it, but growing up, there was no words for that. And it was a fault. Because I'll own it, I was crying. I was very sensitive for everything that was around me. I did fundraising and I was always involved. And my goal was to, be able to go to Africa and volunteer. And whenever things got big in my heart, I just cried. And I remember it's like, stop crying, stop crying, stop crying. And I'm like, but that's just who I am. So for many years, I just shoved it down, in a pot within myself with duct tape and just really, really deep and just try to cut it. And it was hard. And now at least we have words to put on it. So it's like, oh, that's who I am. When I read Sensitive is the New Strong, for me was a release. Because it's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay to feel. And it's okay to cry. And it's all good. And that's what makes me me. Is that sensitivity. I feel people that they don't even need to talk to me and I feel what's going on. And now I understand that that's my superpower. So something that started in my life, in my case anyways, as a default, it was a fault. Now I see it as my superpower.
I think that story resonates with all of us. Every woman I have spoken to who is like, oh yeah, I'm most definitely a highly sensitive woman. It's that same through line of when I was younger, when I was growing up, we didn't have the words to it. And we were presented with, whether overtly or covertly, that it was some sort of flaw and we needed to change and we needed to be something else. And sometimes it was our families and sometimes it was society. And so that part looked a little bit different, but the message was received, right? And we shoved it all down and we tried to be something different. And like you, I am so grateful to finally have the words and to know that it's not just me, that, it's about 20% of the population. And there's a lot of us who are wired this way. And that's just, in our DNA, so to speak. And
it is. And I think that we're the ones who change the world. Because
I love that.
The world.
Yeah, explain that a little bit more. Like, we feel the world, and we most definitely do. But like, how can we really tap into that and change the world, do you think?
Well, for me, it was first embracing it. And again, like putting a word on it helped me to be able to, okay, and allowing it. You put a word on it, you allow it, and then you embrace it. Kind of like it doesn't go from one to the other. There's a transition there. And today, like in my professional life, like I'm a coach, I'm a speaker. And when I speak and when I share from that place of sensitivity, I touch something in people. I bring back purpose. Even with friends, I'll chit chat with friends. And since I'm not a, service level conversation, like I touch something and I'm able to bring a different perspective, a different point of view, a sensitivity, and it's contagious. So when we allow ourselves, it kind of overflows and it contaminates the people around us, and people become more sensitive to whatever their point of view is, their perspective, to their environment, to the people around them, to the way that they feel. And we go first.
Yes, absolutely. As you were speaking, I was thinking about, as we accept ourselves and we open up that sensitivity to share it with others, so often, I'll speak for myself, but I have heard this from my listeners, from my clients as well, that we went through life for so long feeling misunderstood. And I think that is true of a lot of people, not just highly sensitive women, but as we start embracing our sensitivity and we start opening up and showing that to other people and allowing ourselves to really listen to other people and to have those deep conversations and not say, that's a bad thing, I need to stay surface level, right? Mm-hmm. That's when, we start hearing the other people. And that's kind of the thing I think that transcends, and how you were saying we go first, right? When we hear the other people, now they feel heard and they feel like they can move forward and start listening to other people, because when we feel heard, then we don't feel like we have to be the one talking all the time. And yeah, I think that is how we change the world.
And I'll add to that, we don't hear, anyways, I'll speak for myself. I don't just hear the words. I hear what's happening behind the words. Like,
yeah, picking up on those subtleties.
Yes, like the pattern that's behind that, the belief that's behind that, the fear that's behind that. And because I'm able to touch that, I go into that conversation and not the surface conversation. But I'm able to access that only since I've embraced my superpower of sensitivity. And like sometimes people will tell me something and I'll just ask a question on what's behind it, what I believe, what I feel that's behind what the words that they're saying. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, perfect. Now let's have an honest and true and a real conversation.
Yeah. I think the other thing, and so I have experienced very similarly to what you just did, and over and over and over, I hear from people in my circle, you're the only person where I feel like I can really be myself and to not feel judged. And I don't know if that is your experience too, but to give that to someone else and to have them have at least one place where they feel like they can be themselves, which is so interesting because we go through our lives feeling like we couldn't be ourselves for so long, right? I think that might be like the greatest honor that for me that has come from being a highly sensitive person, and you know who I am, is giving that space to someone else.
Yeah. And you think my journey is slightly different, where I'm like, good, now you know how it feels. Go give it to somebody else. Go create that for somebody else. So that's why I say, like, we're the ones bringing change in the world, because we are, like, everyone lives here above the neck. We live below the neck. And thriving is below the neck. Happiness and fulfillment is below the neck. But it's not like, and at the same time, as a society, it's not glorified. The more of more is glorified. I focus on more of better. So when I'm able to, and when I touch somebody, I say, perfect, now it's your job to create that for somebody else. Because that somebody else is going to create it for somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. And that's the greatest gift that we bring, is a reconnection to our humanity. That's how I see it.
Love it. So I know that you have worked with people and are a studier of people and human behavior and all of those things. Did you start that work before you had this level of self-acceptance in the words for being highly sensitive, or did it come later? I'm just really curious, like, how you got into the work that you do and kind of the timeline of things.
No, because I tried to fit in the box. So I've got a bachelor's degree in marketing. I've got like all the letters possible and impossible in the wealth management and in finance industry. And like, I've got all and I used to wear like a really nice suit and short hair. And now I go on stage barefooted and, no, because like I tried to fit in the box. I tried really, really hard to fit in the box. But at some point, something in life catches you back to bring you back to who you are. And for me, it was misery. Like I was really not happy. From the outside, everything looked good, but inside there was an emptiness. And I was super lucky. So in my consulting business, I was working with a client at one point, and it was the third time that I was presenting the business strategy for their visibility and everything. And it was like, oh my gosh, Sarah, this is amazing. This is exactly what we're going to do. But it was the third time that we had the same meeting. And I'm like, okay, clearly there's something I'm not understanding, So that's when I decided to go and do my NLP training and dive back into human behavior. But I've always been interested in human behavior, because my first career choice was become a kindergarten teacher. And my second career choice was to become a psychologist. So there was humanity. So that client, by giving me all the praise in the world but not moving, really brought me back. And I know somebody else would have just said, well, let go of that client and just go and get that client. But I don't know, something in me said, there's something I don't get, go back and understand the human behavior more. So that's when I got back, and like I got into my first session of NLP training certification with a suit on. Okay, like, I don't know if you understand. People go there wearing flip-flops and yoga pants, and I show up in a suit. And they're like, okay, so this afternoon, I got there late, obviously, because I had a meeting, whatever, but I told them. And so I show them, and I'm like in full, like, masculine energy, go-getting energy. And I see everyone's like sitting in a circle. I'm like, oh no, kumbaya, what are we going to do? And then he goes, so we're going to make a draw. We're going to draw something, and we're going to draw how we're feeling. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, just give me the insight. Just give me the information. I'm good, So, and it's funny because at the end, it's like a 3-year journey. People are like, after the first year, people were like, the woman who walked in on day 1 and the woman now is not the same woman. Because I let go of everything that was, all the costumes that I was trying on to fit in. You know, and there's a quote that says, if you want to be exceptional, well, you have to understand that you're going to be the exception. Because when you try to fit in, when you don't fit in, you have external conflict. When you do fit in, you have internal conflict. And when we see that we have internal conflict, that's a sign that we're not at the right place.
Yeah, and so many of us, I think, have gotten used to that internal conflict. Excuse me, that we think that it's normal, that it's just how it is, that you just always go through life with internal conflict. And not to say that there isn't some, but we just accepted it. And when we start to let go of that, gosh, there's so much freedom. Something you said really hit me. It says, it brings you back to who you are. And I was having a conversation with someone just last night about like our childhood and some things that we did as children that now, 30, 40 years later, we're coming back to, and how our intuition, and we know who we are as children. And then we like lose it along the way, trying to fit into that box and contorting and becoming this version of ourselves that we don't even recognize. And then it's later in life that we return to it. And man, I think about that and learning how to really trust that instinctively we know, and how to lean into that. It can be really hard, but I think that's why these conversations are so valuable. And now that we have the language, like, we have to talk about it so that we can save time for some other people to not lose so much of themselves along the way.
Yes, and to show the way. And like, experience, if it's not shared, it's wasted. So it's funny that you said the word trust, because I actually got it tattooed on my arm to remind myself, just trust. Just be you, trust. And like, sometimes I find that people hide behind the label of being a hypersensitive person. And say, yeah, but I'm a hypersensitive, so I can't do this and I can't do that. And I'm like, no, that's not true. It's a superpower. Use it. So it's not something to hide with. It's something to shine with. And that's the difference. So it's like, you have it, it's a gift. Own it. Now do something with it.
I was definitely the person who was hiding, especially when I first finally got the language. There was a big sense of relief, like, oh, there isn't something broken. Like, it's not an imagined thing. This is a real thing. And then it was almost like, once I had all those labels, then they became my excuses. Oh, I can't do that thing because, I'm a highly sensitive woman, and I can't do that thing because, and so it was definitely a progression. And so I say that to those of you who are listening, like, as soon as you get the words, you might not go from this place of there's something wrong with me to, oh, now I have these answers and I can embrace it.
Superpowers. I'm going to go and save the world.
Right. It is a progression. And I also want to be very transparent that I revisit the different stages of that transition all the time. Like, there are still some days where I'm like, I know this is a really good thing, and I know that I'm not broken, and intellectually I know that, and I wish I could turn it off.
Oh my gosh, you know how many times I just wish I was able to have a 9-to-5 jobs and 3 weeks vacation and just, that's it. Like, where do I apply? But I've also tried it, and I know it makes me miserable. So
yes. Yeah. And the tears, you mentioned crying all the time. I have said this over and over and over, that every emotion comes out of me in tears. And that happened just last week. And my partner, he doesn't dismiss it. He doesn't tell me to stop crying. And it's also hard for him because for him, tears always mean sadness. And I'm like, that's not the case for me. Tears can mean every emotion that is on the feelings wheel, right? And so being able to say that to him is huge because I used to internalize someone being uncomfortable with my tears. And now I'm like, I understand that is hard for you. And I don't have a problem with my tears anymore. And being able to say those words out loud took me a very long time, but it feels so good.
Oh yeah. Like crying from beauty is a thing. Like we were talking a little bit before we started about, I mean, in the winter, I do a lot of winter sports and I go touring, which is basically we go uphill with our skis, but we go in the back country and everything. And it's beautiful. And my partner and I, like, whenever we go there, like, I'm like, it's so beautiful. I want to cry. And it's so beautiful. I'm going to cry. And he's like, he's so touched because I'm able to touch that. And it opens this door. Maybe, maybe, I don't know. Everyone does have a pot in themselves with their emotions where they're sticking out. And showing that crying from beauty because something is just so beautiful is also a thing.
Yeah, it is.
And my partner, he's like, goes, I want to bring you places just because I want to see that face. Because it's not something that he touches or used to be able to touch. But I'm a portal for it.
Yeah. And so my partner has said the same thing. Like for him in those moments where he knows that the tears are coming from a place of, beauty or happiness or love or whatever. Like he enjoys being able to see that and to witness that in me. And yes, such a gift because it gives the other person permission to tap into that too.
Or just know that it exists. A lot of people don't even know that level of awe exists. And highly sensitive is because we touch both extremes. We're not just like, our emotional range is not this. It's not like 1 inch wide or thin. Like it's big. We go from very happy and then we can go to very sad. And we hold on to this too shall pass. Like that's a quote we hold on to. And yeah, it's we bring the biggest joy to the world, and I strongly, strongly believe that because we tap into something that not a lot of people are able to tap into.
So good. Speaking of relationships and how we're interacting with each other, I know that you do a lot of work around how like language shapes our behavior and our relationships, and in your lived experiences, personally, and the work that you do professionally, like what do you know to be true, whether highly sensitive or not? What do you know to be true about how our language shapes our behavior and our relationships?
That language is everything. Language translates the invisible, intangible world to the visible, tangible world. And everyone, not just highly sensitive, but I think we do it a little bit more. We have, first of all, this inner chatter of, I'm not okay, this is not good, I'm not good enough, And like we have like these gazillion stories, they're rarely good, going on in our head. And we're not aware that internal story is actually running our life. And this is for everyone. Like, I'm not good enough. I haven't done enough. I'm not pretty enough, skin enough, tall enough. I'm too tall, too short, it's not enough. That, and men and women, we have this inner chatter that just, it's like the the background music in an elevator. You don't hear it, but it's always there. And when we put that into light, then it comes from the intangible world, the unconscious world, to the conscious world. And when it's conscious, then I can do something about it. So my fascination with language is, I believe that, I strongly believe that that is the only thing we have. They're words. Because it's that line from invisible to visible world. To be able to live an emotion and not being able to name highly sensitive, how that, when that was in our blind spot and we couldn't name it, we didn't know what to do with it. But the day we started, that a word came for it to be able to name it, then we were able to do something with it. So like the words, they put everything into reality. So let it be the words that in my inner chatter, what I say to myself, which is the most important conversation we ever have, or the ones that we have with ourselves, when I speak, or when I listen to someone. So they help shape the relationship that we have with us. Now I know that I'm a sensitive person. And it's like, and I don't like this expression like hypersensitive. And I'm like, it's not hypersensitive, it's super sensitive. Because it's a superpower, you know? So I'm able to change it. And I build the relationship with myself with words. And I build relationship with others with words. So my fascination comes from that. And before I was saying, like, I'm able to hear what people don't say. I actually, and this is going to sound weird, but I feel words. There's a frequency to words, and I feel words. So when somebody's talking to me, let it be a friend, a client, doesn't really matter, or like I feel with the words that they use, the frequency that they're on. And I use another word to change the frequency. And it's like that. You know, like the other day, this week I'm talking with a client and she's like, yes, but you know, I have so much to do and I have like all these to-do lists, and I don't, like everyone does nowadays. Everyone has like a never-ending to-do list. And she's like, I don't know by where to start. And I'm like, well, here's how we're going to start. We're going to make a difference between what's important and what's relevant. And it goes in from what's relevant to what's relevant right now. And she's like, yeah. And they continue talking, and she had a proposal to write for a potential client, but it's taking her out of her comfort zone. She's like, but I emptied my emails instead. And I'm like, yeah, you went for what's important instead, as opposed to going for what's relevant. So I feel words and I play along with words to be able to change the frequency the person's on. And that's the gift that I want to bring to the world now. Like, yes, I'm known for strategy and business, but really the strategy is because I was able to help the human behind the strategy. And I'm like, okay, the business world is good. Like, I want to help the humans understand the power, the superpower in the words that we use, and how that changes our relationship with us and with others.
I'm so curious about how you can feel the frequency of words, because I think that there are probably a lot of people listening right now who, as soon as you said that, they were like, oh, I think you just named what I experienced. But can you kind of describe like what that feels like in your body when you can feel the frequency of words? Can you articulate that for the person who's listening, so that maybe if they're experiencing that too, you give them words to it?
So there are words that I feel them in my head. They're logical words. They're words that I feel in my guts. I'll give you another example. In business, because it happened again this week, somebody calls me for a coach and I'm talking, and he's approaching me to do events and things like that. And I'm like, I'm not looking to be famous, but I know I'm going to be known. The difference, famous for me, I feel it in my head. Known, I feel it in my guts. So again, like the important is in my head, relevant is in my guts. Giving is in my head, contributing, I feel it in my body. So these words that I feel in my body, when I say them, I feel the other person automatically go from their head, poof, back into their body. And then we can move on with something. So it's like, where is that word in my head or in my body? Like, where is it? And sometimes there's like words that will transition slowly. You know, like, what are your goals? What are your projects? What are your desires? There's a scale to words, because it's not true that you can take somebody from there that's very much in their head to their body, but you can transition though. And sometimes like there's words that just pivot people, you know, like, I don't know it. You don't know it yet. You know, how can it be better? How can it be even better? So these like just also pivot, and like, where does it come from? I don't know. It just lands in my head. Like, it just, in my heart, in my body, it just lands. Like, I'm just a channel for it, as weird as it sounds as a sentence. And that's why that's what my purpose and my mission is we bring back people alive when they feel something.
Yeah, that landing in your gut, I think, was a great way to describe it, because so many of us, I think intellectually, we can describe that to other people, right? We can say, I don't know, it just kind of, but you put words to it. There are some phrases, some words, whatever, that they don't stick, they don't land, I think, because they're in our heads. But when they land in our gut, that's when we really feel them. And the word yet, I love that. I also love the word and. Both of those are like really, really powerful. I had a client session right before we were stepping on recording, and we were, working on a mindset shift, and started with, I don't have the answer yet, and then filled in the blank. And I just think that is such a powerful word. It seems so simple. It's a little 3-letter word. Yeah.
And usually the majority of the time, the smallest words change. So it's whenever we can get it, and we feel it. And even through Zoom, or through you can be speaking to somebody even through this video, and you feel when something lands. I've had conversations where, somebody says something and everyone's like, okay, this just landed. Yes. Because life is not in our head. It's not above the neck. It's below the neck. And that's our role. That's our responsibility, because we touched it. So I think we are responsible for the next human pandemic. It's to the sensitivity pandemic.
Okay. All right. Well, I have loved every bit of this conversation. And if someone who is listening, this is really landing for them, and they wanted to know more about you and the work that you do, where can they find you?
There's a lot of stuff on my website, saragilbert.coach. Instagram is my happy place. And it's funny because yesterday I actually just shared a post on, instead of asking, how are you doing? Ask someone, how are you feeling? Just that. So Instagram is my happy place. I'm also YouTube, but yeah, saragilbert.coach, and all the links, all the beautiful links are there. Oh, yes. And I do have a quiz. And it's your relational archetype. And it's really something that I worked on. I worked on the quiz, and now I'm working on a series of masterclass that are all going to be free to go along with it, is how do we build relationship with ourselves, with others? Because that's what humans do. We build relationships. And that's also where our safety comes in. It's a relationship with us and then with others. So if people are interested of are understanding their archetype of how they get into a relationship, there's a quiz on my website.
I love it. And yes, you are right. Relationships are the foundation for everything, and just the shared human experience, even if it's with a complete stranger on a train, right? Like there's just something so powerful about human connection. So thank you so much for being here and for sharing all of this wisdom. And until next time, take care.
Thank you for doing this show. It's important work.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who may be feeling like she's broken too? I'd love it if you'd leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It brings me so much joy to know this podcast is helping you. Now it's time for me to stop talking and go soothe my senses in nature. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode. Take care.